I think it's just a case of moving it really, really gently, which is quite tricky because it's not really a smooth circle because it's made up of these wheels. But still, I think we're getting fairly interesting results with this one in particular.
Hey folks, Barnaby Dixon here. So I haven't done so many videos recently. This is because I've been working full-time at the Bridge Theatre directing puppetry for Philip Pullman's The Book of Dust. This is a stage adaptation and it's being directed by Nicholas Heitner. And I would like to show you some stuff from this project, but we haven't got anything quite ready yet. So in the next few months I'll be able to show you some things from that project, so do stay tuned. But in this video I want to take you back to 2014 when I was working as a freelance stop-motion animator. So I wanted to work on my own projects in my downtime, but it's quite tricky to do in stop motion because it takes a very, very long time. So I was trying to think of a way of speeding up my production process. This eventually branched off into puppetry, but at the time I was experimenting with mixing time-lapse elements with real animals, like in the case of this film where I used real snails. But another technique I was considering involved me building this really massive, crazy contraption. And I got everything ready to shoot with it, but other techniques seemed more viable, and I actually never got around to using it. So I think today we should have a play with it and see if it works. Alrighty. So first, the device needed filling with many litres of bubble bath liquid, would you believe? I bought all this stuff back in 2014, so I thought I had the right amount, but apparently
I don't have nearly enough.
So this might be a good time to go for the commercial break while I go get some more bubble bath.
What's up, y'all? So if your New Year's resolution happens to be dragging your lazy buttocks to the gym every once in a while, then you tell me if this is a familiar situation. So you whip out your phone to... Oh, bother, you've dropped... Oh, now you've got to untangle... Oh, God. Ah! So 3 hours later, you've finally solved this existential puzzle and you're ready for your workout. So you stick on some vintage Scott Walker and you pound that treadmill like a good old boy. You're feeling the burn, but you are in the zone. Nothing eclipses your physical meditation. Not work, not responsibilities, not even the playlist popping over to Scott Walker's later releases where he was maybe doing a bit too many drugs. Perhaps, I don't know. Suddenly, your arm catches the cable, your phone flies across the room and blasts through the brain of a 64-year-old CrossFitter who was 1 day away from her state pension. So where did it all go wrong? Well, I'll tell you. You should have gone with Raycon's wireless headphones. Unlike some other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish, discreet with no dangling wires or stems. What's more, Raycon earbuds start at around half the price of other premium wireless earbuds on the market. Celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Cuddly B, and Jer Smith are simply batty about Raycons, and their latest model, E25, is their best one yet, with over 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. It also comes in new, fun colours. So click the link in the description, or go to buyraycon.com/Barnaby for 15% off your order. Oh, they're also water resistant, so go ahead and get your sweat on, dear lad. Nice job.
So why bubble bath? Well, bubble bath liquid is pretty cheap and it has a fairly high viscosity, and that's important because I made this little tiny carefully weighted spaceship to float slowly upwards through liquids with high viscosities. All of this should make a bit more sense in a little bit. Fortunately, I was able to get mostly the cheap own brand bubble bath, but I needed a little bit more than they had, so I had to get this ever so slightly more expensive branded stuff, so do please consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you very much. I also wanted to go to one of these self-service kiosks to check out my weird purchase in private, but it was the kind that I hadn't used before and a lady had to come and help me anyway, so she probably thought I was weird, but it didn't matter because now I had enough bubble bath to try out my weird idea with my weird contraption.
Whoa, still crazy after all these years. I don't think anything's coming out. That's great. There is a lot of bubbles though.
Okay, so I've angled the device like this to get all of these bubbles up into this corner. When that happens, hopefully the bubbles will coalesce into one big bubble. It looks like it's started to happen. So when that's happened, I'll angle the device to get that big bubble down into this corner. And then once that's happened, hopefully using these two kind of ridges you see either side of the hole, I'll be able to guide the big bubble through the hole and then out through the spout. I've found one straggler bubble. Where is it? Ah, here he comes. All right. Hasta la vista. What a messy boy. So as I mentioned, the ship floats up, but up becomes visually relative when you fix a camera to the device facing inwards and start rolling it around. So it's almost like being able to steer the spaceship from outside the device. The ship moves really slowly, so putting the camera on a time-lapse setting seemed to make sense, but focusing between the photos wasn't possible, so this shot was recorded as video and then sped up 8,000%. These shots are pretty cool looking, but not all viscous liquids are the same, and this one was a little bit gelatinous, which means it would wobble a little every time the device rolled, which translated to the ship shifting a little bit every time it turns. Oh, by the way, the light that I was using stopped working when I tried to charge it, so I had to go and spend £30 on a new one.
So Matilda recently had an ultrasound because she's having some digestive issues. They cleared up now, but she's still got a shaved belly.
While I was at the pet place, I saw these fish with these really interesting tendrils, and I thought putting some object with similar flowing attributes into the device might give some really cool results.
Okay, let's take a look. Oh, it's smooth. The direction changes, you can see it wobbles around a lot, but it's still a really interesting effect.
It's an interesting result, but again pretty juddery with every turn. So by putting a magnet at the end of the object, I could kind of control it through the tank without having to roll the tank at all. And this actually gave the best results so far, so let's watch the results with a little ambient soundtrack that I can create with this device called the Jouet. And this is a cool device because I can play it just with my left hand, which means I can have Dabchick on the other hand, and Dabchick isn't getting in the way, and if he was to play it, he just wouldn't have the dexterity or the skill to...
Okay, I think they get the idea. Why don't you just get on with it?
Yeah, okay.